I never thought peace could turn into war so fast. One minute I was watching my daughter's karate trophies glint in the morning light, and the next, I was staring at a video of the HOA president's son shoving her to the ground at school. He said, "Move, new girl, this is my hall." He didn't know she was a state karate champion. He didn't know that shove would start something far bigger than a hallway scuffle. It would light a fuse that nearly blew our whole neighborhood apart. The video came to me while I was half awake fumbling with a shelf bracket that swore it only needed 5 minutes to install. My phone buzzed again and again until I finally looked. There she was, my daughter Stacy, steady calm while a bigger kid tried to make a show of pushing her around. The clip ended with him flat on his back and her walking away without a word. I should have been proud, I was, but behind that pride I felt the slow crawl of dread. Because I knew that kids' parents Karen and Roger Lucas, the self-appointed royalty of Palmer's County HOA. Stacy got home like nothing happened, asked if we had any of that strawberry lemonade left. I tried to play it cool, but my chest was tight. "You did good," I said. "Clean, controlled. Just like we practiced." She nodded, repeating the mantra I'd drilled into her since her mom died. "Don't start a fight, but be ready to finish one." Then she said something that made my stomach drop. "But this is Palmer's County Dad. And that was Jordan Lucas. His mom's gonna come for us." She wasn't wrong. The next morning there was an orange paper taped to our front door. HOA violation notice. 3 infractions, a bike on the porch, a trash can visible from the street, and unkempt foliage. At the bottom, a handwritten note. "Pain is a teacher. Learn faster. Karen Lucas." It wasn't about the rules, it was payback. I stood there on the porch gripping that paper so tight it crinkled. The peaceful new start we'd hoped for after Sarah died gone. In its place, a petty war with a woman who thought power came from a clipboard and a ruler. Stacy looked at the notice and smirked. "So we fight back." I laughed. "You want to go to war with the HOA." "Not war," she said, eyes gleaming. "Strategy." That's how it began our campaign of malicious compliance. My brother-in-law, Danny, a tech guy with too much free time, joined in immediately. "Fight bureaucracy with bureaucracy," he said. "We read the HOA bylaws like a military manual. Turns out the Lucas's perfect house wasn't so perfect. Holiday decorations, past deadline satellite dish, the wrong color, a political sign still up weeks after the election. We documented everything line by line, photo by photo, and sent a neat little email to the HOA board CCing everyone, including Roger Lucas himself. Then came the flamingos. 50 bright pink plastic flamingos appeared on our lawn one morning, perfectly spaced 12 inches apart. Each had a laminated copy of an HOA rule attached to its beak rules that didn't forbid lawn ornaments, just said they had to be in good repair. They were brand new. Karen Lucas walked out of her house, froze, and turned beet red. Stacy and I watched from the window sipping coffee. "Think she likes them?" Stacy asked. I said I think her head might explode. The neighborhood started laughing. At her? We'd taken her fear and turned it into a joke. But deep down I knew we'd just humiliated the one person least capable of letting it go. The silence from the Lucases lasted a week. Then came the knock. It wasn't a knock. Actually, it was pounding. 11 at night, shaking the door on its hinges. I peeked through the blinds. Roger Lucas stood on my porch, swaying slightly clipboard in hand, like a club. His son Jordan loomed behind him, fists clenched. "This is an official HOA inspection," Roger barked. My voice was steady, but my pulse hammered. "Article 12, I muttered. "Inspections require 24 hours written notice." Stacy was behind me. "He's lying," she whispered. The banging got louder. "Open up, McCoy." Roger slurred. "We saw a violation." I didn't move. Cameras were rolling. Danny had helped me set up a full system, cloud-based, mirrored, unhackable. Then Jordan threw his shoulder into the door. The frame groaned but held. I motioned to Stacy, "Stay back." They circled the house flashlights, jerking through the windows. Then they stumbled into the backyard. I switched to the rear camera feed. That's when Stacy slipped out the side door. I wanted to stop her, but the look in her eyes was pure focus. She stepped into the porch light, calm as stone. "Gentlemen," she said, "you're trespassing. The public sidewalk's that way." Roger spun, tripped over a garden gnome, and landed in the rose bush. Jordan lunged at her. She sidestepped, redirected, and swept him clean off his feet. Same move from the hallway, perfect execution. He hit the ground hard. Stacy pulled out her phone. "Yes, 911, 2 trespassers. 1 just assaulted me. I'm fine. Send a car." I didn't breathe until the red and blue lights flashed across the lawn. The cops took statements, reviewed the footage, then shrugged. "They'll get citations," the officer said. "Public intoxication trespassing." "That's it?" I asked. He sighed. "Sir, they're HOA leadership. It's messy. Messy." That word stuck in my head. The next morning, the neighborhood's version of the story was already spreading that my daughter attacked them, that we were unstable. People stopped waving. Some crossed the street when they saw us. Then came the sign. A massive yellow board hammered into our lawn. Notice of pending HOA foreclosure. Fines listed $5,000 for hostile community behavior. It wasn't legal, but it looked official. A public shaming. I ripped it out of the ground and nearly snapped it over my knee. I was ready to storm over there, shove it through their window, scream. But Stacy put a hand on my arm. "Dad, breathe." She was right. They wanted me angry. They wanted me reckless. So I stopped. I thought. The next day, outside the library, Jordan pulled up in his oversized truck, blocking our car. He climbed out with 2 football buddies. "Saw your foreclosure notice," he sneered. "Mom's gonna have you out by the end of the month." I stepped between him and Stacy. "You threatening my family?" He ignored me. "My parents run this place. They can do whatever they want." Stacy just smiled, cold and calm. "You should really learn to fall better. You're getting a lot of practice." His face went purple. He shoved past her and drove off, tires screaming. That's when it clicked. This wasn't about revenge. It was about real estate. Rumors had been floating for months about a new development nearby Westwood Plaza. Danny helped me dig. Within hours, he found it public planning records, maps, proposals, and right there in a set of early drafts a planned access road cutting straight through our property. My stomach turned. They weren't just harassing us, they were trying to force us out so they could sell the land. Danny and I pulled together every scrap of evidence, neighborhood camera footage of the trespass, the fake foreclosure sign, and then the smoking gun. A neighbor's security mic caught Karen yelling at Roger the morning after the gym event. "Get rid of the videos, the emails with the developer. Everything. We're too close to closing this deal." Emails. Developer. Deal. We traced them, found real correspondence between Karen and a Westwood vice president. She promised to clear the property in exchange for a $100,000 finder's fee. The first message dated the week we moved in. They'd been targeting us from day one. I almost laughed. 6 months of chaos, all for greed. Danny helped me stitch the evidence into a 10-minute video, crystal clear, airtight. The timing couldn't have been better. The HOA's annual town hall was coming up, and on the agenda was a recall vote for the president. Roger and Karen planned to brush it off as a formality. They had no idea we were coming. That night, the community center was packed. Karen sat up front in her perfect blazer smile, frozen. Roger tapped his microphone. "Let's address the false rumors being spread about this board." "Point of order," I said, standing. Article 3, Section C. Any resident may present evidence relevant to a recall vote. Karen's head snapped toward me. Roger stammered, "That's irregular." "It's in the bylaws," I said. "You wrote them." The crowd murmured. He had no choice. 10 minutes, McCoy," he said through gritted teeth. I walked to the front, plugged in my laptop, and hit play. The first image, Jordan shoving Stacy in the school hallway. The crowd gasped. Then came the backyard footage, Roger and Jordan drunk pounding on our door, breaking in, attacking my daughter. Multiple camera angles, clear as day. Then the audio of Karen's voice. "Delete the videos, the emails with the developer, everything." Finally, the emails themselves projected 10 feet high for everyone to see. The last line from Karen to the developer burned across the wall. "The new owners are easy to push out." The room was silent. Then Karen exploded. "Lies, fabrications. You people are fools." But no one looked at me. They were all staring at her. That's when Officer Miller stepped forward, the same cop who'd called it messy. His tone was calm, almost satisfied. "Karen Roger Lucas, you're under arrest for conspiracy wire fraud and destruction of evidence." Karen screamed, knocking over her clipboard. "You can't do this. I am the HOA." Two officers cuffed her. Roger didn't even protest, he just sat there, gray and deflated. The room erupted. Years of frustration poured out, people yelling about bogus fines, harassment, threats. I didn't cheer. I just stood there watching Stacy in the corner, her face calm, unreadable. She wasn't celebrating. She was processing. Because this wasn't just about us anymore. It was about everyone who'd been bullied into silence. As they led the Lucases out, Karen shouting until the doors slammed, I felt a strange quiet settle inside me. We'd fought for months, through fear, humiliation, exhaustion, and finally justice stood tall on its own legs. For the first time since Sarah died, I felt like I'd truly protected my daughter. Not by fighting with fists, but by fighting smart. The crowd voted unanimous recall. The Lucases were done. And as I walked out into the night air, the crumpled violation notice still tucked in my jacket pocket, I realized something simple and solid. Peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's what you earn when you refuse to be bullied anymore.